Okay, so good morning, gentlemen, ladies. Welcome to our episode. Wala pang title ito. Just to introduce who will be our speakers, resource person for the coming Euphoria 2022 in Cebu, September 16 and 17. So today, we are with Andy the Shark. Again, alam niyo siguro kung bakit Andy the Shark. Ito yung taong 30 years ago kung magbenta by the unit. Pero ngayon talagang by the floor at saka by the building. So, si Andy the Shark, and we met almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, more than 30 because I'm on my 33rd year.
33, early 1990s.
Yeah.
Way back 1993, perhaps. By at that time, he was with an ordinary salesperson pa lang ng Global Realty. And when you talk of Global Realty, they're the number one condominium marketing, exclusive marketing ng today's Metrobank Federal Land. So yun ang background. And we met there because fortunately, their president that time, the late attorney Gary Vasquez of the Madrigal family, are really investing in training. No? That's why we have been there for almost 1 or 2 years, and what we did when they engage us, pinatrain halos lahat ng mga sales force that time for 5 days. That's how comprehensive during the Tom Hopkins training years. At doon mo na-meet si Andy as a salesperson by that time. And I remember that time, the word billion nag-i-exist na during that time when it comes to sales, no? Kasi pag nakita mo yung advertisement ng araw, pag binuksan mo yung center spread, nandun lahat yung mga building na sold out. So kung Phil State ang number one sa project selling during that time, ito sila naman ang number one when it comes to vertical condominium selling. And that time, first time I met Andy, di ba? Makikita mo na agad ang profile of a champion. Di ba? The way he talks, the way he dressed. Di ba? And I remember with Mr. Montano and of course, the owner, Mr. Gary Vasquez, no? Madrigal yan. Miguel Vasquez, no? One of the 2 or 3 siblings ng Madrigal, number one shipping industry. Pag sinabing Madrigal, they own the Madrigal complex dun sa Ayala, Alabang. So please join me to welcome Mr. Andy Manyala, the publisher of Real Estate News, name it, the developer na siya ng Habitas Development Corporation. So name it, he has undergone, wala na siyang makalaban, whether sa Century, whether sa Eaton, palagi siyang number one, no? Kahit Robinson. So siguro, ayaw na niyang walang kalaban, nagtayo na siya ng sariling organization. So please join me to welcome no other than Andy the Shark. Today I called him the Unstoppable Andy. Despite what he has achieved for the past 33 years, unstoppable pa rin siya. Maybe we can ask Andy, bakit ba unstoppable ka rin? Na andyan ka na sa itaas, but sabi nga ni Tenet before, what? Diba? Paano pagka nasa top ka na?
Okay, first, thank you very much for this actually surprise visit. Tinatanong ko kanina, when are you dropping by dun sa office? I didn't expect this visit, but it was very pleasant. In fact, mas maganda pa ngayon hindi pinaplano, natutuloy eh.
Oh, yeah.
Diba, natutuloy.
Ever since.
So, very, very pleasant surprise. And of course, I call him my maestro because nung nag-uumpisa parang, during that time, walang ibang masters ng real estate training. Lalo na yung breakthrough selling, no? That was one of the first na mga training sessions ni Maestro Jun Garing. And that's the reason why I advise everyone to have their foundation. Sabi nga, we are into real estate, vertical. And whenever you put up a tall building, gusto mong mataas sa building, anong kailangan mo? Matibay na foundation. So, This is the foundation that I believe, I know, and I recommend to everyone who wants to have a long-term career in real estate. One advice is that real estate is not a 100-meter dash sprint. Ito parang ultra Ironman. Sabi nga ni Simon Sinek, hindi to yung finite race. This is an infinite race. It is ongoing, and if it is ongoing, that means yung improvement mo ng skills should also be ongoing. Times are changing, may evolution yan, may peaks, may highs, may lows. Mas kailangan natin ng training pag may lows. I'm just very grateful na din that I've been through some of the worst crises dito sa real estate. Crisis or challenges, no? And when you have crisis, that means that only means maraming challenges. Pag maraming challenges, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo lang better skills to overcome these challenges. And how do you upskill yourself? Training. So, non-stop training. So, and I never thought of myself as being on top already. Because once you think that you're on top, there's nowhere else to go but go down. See? That's why the key is always have that. Sabi nga, always be crazy and always be hungry. Otherwise, ang pinakamalaking kalaban natin is complacency. One sign, I'll give you a tip. One sign that you are deteriorating already. Once you already tell yourself, alam ko na yan. That's the first sign na you are already deteriorating. Because when you have that mindset, that means you are already refusing to learn. And if you refuse to learn, if you don't improve, then there's no other way to go but down and deteriorate. So, yan. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity, and kita mo na, surprise to, and introduction pa lang, pagkausap mo si Master, gaganahan ka talaga.
So, on this second question, I observed your career to many organizations, from Robinson Land, diba? How you establish, how do you, talagang number one ka dyan. Then you went to Eton Properties still. Kulang na lang na maging presidente, no? But basically, mukhang excitement ka talaga sa sales, no? That's why you become the top vice president of Eton. And then you went to Century Properties, and also still, no? With so many champions within Ambassador Antonio, di ba? Still, nandun pa rin yung, di ba? Hindi ka lang unstoppable, no? Undefeated, no? Naubusan na yung award, between Robinson, between Eton, at saka between Century Properties, no? So, madali ka bang magsawa o hindi ka na na-challenge? That's why you move from different organization na kahit saan kang pumunta, whoever is this developer, still you always aim to become maybe number one or one of the always consistent number one. Ano sikreto dyan? Para makita nila na bakit ganun ka-unstoppable.
Sabi nga, I move from maybe they've noticed, why is he moving from one developer to another? Yes, that's true, but my average stay with one developer is about 4.5 to 5 years. But 4.5 to 5 years, I get to prove myself. And then, if there's a new challenge that comes along, I move. But what I'm proud of is that when other people, hindi kagaya ngayon kasi may mga agents na nag-move every 2 months, every 3 months, pag-cut na yung allowance, move. Cut na allowance, move. Okay? But this one, the reason why I move is because, let's say, after 5 years, settled na yung group dito, they're stable, I just form another group. And one thing that I'm proud of is that lahat ng pinanggalingan ko na companies, I never burned bridges. In fact, instead of burning bridges, we're building networks. I can go back to them anytime, and I'm still in very good relations with them. And pag iniwan ko yung group doon, kumbaga, nag-glide na lang yan, and they continue to be champions. Right now, a lot of the heads ng mga different developers were sharks. These are the people who worked with me for several years, because training is not one session. If you're attending the training today, this is just the first day. Training is what you do to develop a habit through constant practice every day. It is a way of life. Training is not, na-attend ako na yan. If you are not using it, you do not know it. That's the principle there. Yes, nag-attend ka, siguro pumalakpak ka, that's it. But if you're not using it, you do not know it. That's basically as simple as that. So I move from one place to another only to accept bigger challenges, because that's the only way to grow. Like for example, if you go to the gym, mag-weights ka ng 5 pounds, kung 5 taon ka na nagpa 5 pounds, hindi ka rin mag-grow. So you have to increase the resistance. You have to increase the challenge. That is how you grow. When you increase the resistance, you break your muscles. When you break your muscles, it grows, it regenerates. That's how you build. That's how you build yourself.
Andy, meron tayong kasabihan, di ba? When you are in sales, talagang action-oriented tayo. And some salesperson, kulang sa reflection. Kaya sabi natin, kung puro ka action, walang reflection, that's activism. No?
Mm.
Ngayon, kung ikaw naman reflect, wala ka namang action, verbalism. No? So Andy, reflection lang for the past almost 33 years, no, in the field of real estate. Ano yung sasabihin mong one of your, sabihin natin, no? Sabi nga, continuous nga, infinity to it. One of the greatest achievement of working with a lot of people, a lot of organization, but sabi nga ni Tom Hopkins, no, yung ating mentor, which we started with him, na sabi niya, having trained 1 million sales champions worldwide. At nung tinanong siya, ano ang sikreto, bakit magaling pa sila after 20, 30, or 40 years, bakit magaling pa rin sila? At ang sagot niya is their ability to last. Na hanggang ngayon, may tiwala pa rin, confident, competent, at saka masigla pa rin, masigasig. Ikaw personally, with the local market, working with a lot of salesperson, management sa Pilipinas, ano yung mga sikreto, bakit they have the ability to last? Katulad mo, you're a role model in terms of sustainable leadership mo.
One is, yun nga, parang to avoid complacency. So once, that passion for learning, a lot of people say, parang they call me guru, which so it sounds fancy, but if you really get the definition of guru, that means only teacher, parang ganun. But it does not mean that you know everything. In fact, that's the reason why, no exaggeration, I study real estate every day. Every day, as in every day. If not, if I'm driving, YouTube. If I'm driving, YouTube yan. Current events, how the market is doing, and then of course read the newspapers. But I did a twist now. Pag sa newspapers, puro negative yan. Negative. So what I did was, on August 8 in 2020, I established this news aggregator called the Real Estate News Philippines. Because during that time, April, May, June, July, puro negative, patayan, COVID, tokhang, and corruption, and everything. So I said, I think the industry needs some light. The industry needs some positivity. So, wala naman akong alam sa journalism. But then, so I set up this company called Real Estate News Philippines. And the objective is to spread positivity. I get all the news related to real estate in the Philippines, positive ones, reports, data, facts, developments related to real estate, PropTech, engineering, architecture, bank finance, OFW issues, government issues, na positive naman. Because yung negative, makikita na nila sa iba yan. So, and then we went into development with Habitats Development. So, with that one, you learn another aspect of real estate. We're very heavy on research because we also service some of the biggest international developers in different countries who wants to develop here in the Philippines. We also give advisory and management services to property owners na gustong maging developer. So that's one. Natututunan mo naman yan. And it's very dynamic every day. And then we have, of course, Keller Williams. Now, there's a difference between Keller Williams and other real estate. I have a very good feel about the real estate in the Philippines. But how do we compete globally? So, we got this franchise from the U.S., which is the largest real estate network in the world, with almost 200,000 agents worldwide. So, their training, their technology, and their network, because real estate will no longer be, and the market will no longer be exclusively to the Philippines. Our market now is the world. So the network should be global. You should be a local expert but globally connected. That's the key. Now, how do you become globally connected? It's not only through technology, but you have to understand how they think. You have to understand their business language. This is the reason also why we offer the course sa NAR, or the National Association of Realtors, na tinatawag ng CIPS, Certified International Property Specialist, wherein you will learn the practices, the culture, the policies, the business language of different countries, different people. Remember, the Philippines is, sabi nga ni Professor Bernie Villegas, the Philippines will be the 16th strongest economy by 2050. But of course, hindi naman now in 2050, which means we are moving up a notch every year. So as we move, we should develop ourselves, which means the world is looking at the Philippines now. So when they're looking at the Philippines now, and when there are investors looking at the Philippines now, how can they find you? And that's the key. Itong isa pang sikreto. Before, nung panahon namin ni Maestro, hinahanap mo ngayon, nag-hunt ka ng kliyente, di ba? You're searching, you're prospecting. The key now is posturing and positioning. You let the market find you. You have to be present online, and you establish yourself. You know the buyers are looking for now. They are looking for specialists. Because 2-5 ngayon ng agents and brokers, di ba? So they're looking for specialists who are honest because of the scams, especially online. Okay, who are authority, who's an authority in their field, in their industry, and who is responsive to their needs. Not only focused on the commission, but really responsive to their needs. It's not about what you sell, but what they want and what they need. And then, knowledgeable. Knowledgeable about their industry, about their craft, and about their project. In short, they want somebody who's a specialist, who's honest, who's an authority, who's responsive, and knowledgeable. So, sharp pa rin yan.
That's the name of sharp. No?
Maraming meaning ang shark, but it's a whole day. It's a whole day session for that. But that's just a sample of that one.
Na dapat ilibro na niya. Di ba? Yung matagal ko nang kinukonvince si Andy na talagang dapat ilibro mo na yan para may mga references na kasi ang dami ng mga educational institution offering BSREM, even TESDA is now offering a diploma in professional selling. No? And you know, the challenge is, sabi ko nga, I'll work with TESDA na itong mga 2 years na ito ng mga senior high school na talaga kung sa income lang, mas papakitain ko pa ng mas malaki yan kaysa sa mga 4 or 5 years college. Yeah, ang dami yan, no? Na walang mga trabaho today, no? So, yun talagang nakikita kong bigger picture for that purpose. Lalo na libre, ha? To become a TESDA scholar is free. So, captive na talaga yung market mo just for the diploma in professional selling. Sabi ko nga bakit wala tayong BS degree when it comes to professional selling? Sabi ko, kung may AB in political science, it's an art. Di ba? Bakit hindi gawing AB in professional selling? Because it's really an art. So, malaking challenge yan sa Chet. No? But anyway, alam kong very busy itong ating guest. Ang idea natin today, more or less, is because we are creating, parang yung sinasabi mong 2020, nangyayari na naman ngayon in a different perspective. No? Because of the war in Ukraine, dollar, etc., economic depression, etc., etc. So, naisip namin yung word na talagang, remember what we did 10 years ago? Ang Cebu, because I stayed in Cebu for 13 years, from 2000 to 2013 almost. And nung pinupost ko na it's about time na to build vertically, walang bibili dyan. Di ba? Yung mga condominium. That's what we did is 2011, we did the Excel 2011 na the best condominium practitioner from the best developer, no? And everybody was in Cebu. Randy was there, Raymond Domingo was there, and from Mega World, si Eric Soriano was there for the Mega World, and then Flor Opresio from DMCI is also there. So those are people, and the late SMDC, si Efren Infanta. So these are the big players in Manila. At talagang namangha ang Cebu. And today, look at Cebu when it comes to vertical development. Kahit hindi nila acknowledge, I think we become a catalyst also. Because we were able to introduce the top developer, top sellers sa condominium sa mga local sellers in Cebu. And I'm sure they're all very grateful that nabuksan yung mata nila. Nahuli na nga lang ang ang mga Aboitiz, no? Kasi hindi na niniwala. I remember because I was with the Aboitiz for almost 2 years. Walang bibili niyan. So, natabunan na ng mga local. Kaya nag-ship na sa mga land, ang mga Aboitiz land. No?
Yeah, and ang isang nabuksan ng mata during that session na nag-observe lang during that time was si Tonton Peterio. Sumobra ang bukas ng isip niya. Siya na ngayon ang #1 sa buong Pilipinas in terms of real estate selling, real estate marketing, and real estate network. He is the biggest now in the country and the most productive. It's all about, but the mission there is nakikita mo, if your mission is just to make money, makabenta ako nito, make money, then dun yung nagiging pagka-broker natin. It's basically a seller lang. But his mission became helping more and more people, helping a lot of people change their lives. So with that, you are really expanding. No? And that has been an advocacy. Nakakapagod yun. Nakakapagod. That guy has super energy. yung dun din sa this is also one thing that I always share with the brokers. No? Karamihan sa brokers, akala yung lisensya natin is a magic card. Ay, pag may lisensya ako, broker na ako, magiging milyonaryo na ako. The license is just a permission to practice in a regulated industry or profession. It doesn't mean that's your gate pass to millions, but it only allows you to practice in a regulated industry. But what we're missing really in that license, in a broker's license, is one thing: the privilege to leverage. Because the others, consultants don't have that. Appraisers don't have that. Salespersons don't have that. The brokers can build a network. Right now, it's up to 20. So which means you have the privilege to leverage, which a lot of brokers are not using. They're only depending on themselves. So, what if magkasakit yung broker? Di sarado tindahan. Whereas if you have developed the skills, see, the key word is if you have trained and developed and nurtured the skills and the relationship of your network, of your agents, then dyan mo mararamdaman yung leverage, which is the key dito sa business natin.
Okay.
Last two questions na lang.
Okay.
Sige. Okay, kasi alam ko.
Okay.
So, why euphoria? Bakit naisip namin yung the word euphoria? Tingnan natin yung dictionary. It's euphoria, it's a feeling of extreme happiness and blissfulness. At ang antonyms nun is basically what's happening today, no? Which is depression. So, parang yun ang nakita kong mission, vision, advocacy natin. Na lahat tayo are stakeholders because we are in the same boat, we are in the same plane or the same train, no? And we would like to create that kind of environment. That's why we call it Euphoria 2022. And of course, since we love the profession called selling, nandito yung tinuturo pa rin natin ng ating mentor, si Dr. Rocano, that we are always quoting, na the making of a Filipino sales champion. Napos ko na ito the last 3 years, but palagi ko na naman pinopromote yan. So basically, yung concept, alam naman natin yan, that if you want to be a champion, everything starts on think like a champion, and then believe like a champion, feel like a champion, and act like a champion. So, doon may mga components si Dr. Rocano na tinawag niyang pyramid of shared values. Example, do sa mindset, di ba? It's the identity, pride, and commitment. Basically, branding.
Correct.
That if you are willing to be identified, proud, and committed to the profession called selling, may edge ka. Hindi ka nahiya with what you do, di ba? And then number 2, how do you believe like a champion? Sa atin, basic, yung 3 characteristics na sinasabi natin. That you must be confident, which is the concept of tiwala. You must be competent, the concept of kaya, and the concept of sigla, enthusiastic. So that's why slogan natin, di ba? Na, di ba, kapag may tiwala sa sarili, masigla ang damdamin, kahit anong kota, kahit anong problema, kakayanin. So ang end result, mahusay. And then, kaya nga kayong dalawa ni Tonton, ang inilagay ko dun sa arrive na, how do you feel like a champion? Ba, ano yung mga characteristics na nandun ka na sa itaas at malawak na yung nakikita mo, worldwide na, iba na yung vision, iba na yung perspective niya. Parang nirefer ko rin sa marketing, that if you are in marketing, you have to get the bigger pie of the market. So we get that word pie. Na number 1 ka na, arrive ka na, letter P, because you're professional, meaning mastery at meron ka ng kadalubasaan. And number 2, yung I, meron kang integrity, no? Your word is your word. No? Kasi maliit ang mundo. May kalokohan ka lang dyan, malalaman na natin tao. And of course, the best Tagalog for ethics, yung kayukano pa rin, yung kagandahang asal, which is judgment. Di ba? Na i-judge ka ng tao in 3 to 5 minutes. Hindi ako bibili kay June kasi masamang asal. Bibili ako kasi magandang asal. So that's the key word. So yung tatlong yun, nire-represent yung dalawa ni Tonton. That's why nilagay ko yung Unstoppable Andy and the Phenomenal Tonton. Because more or less, directly, indirectly, pareho ang vision natin. To educate, train, and develop the most number of people within our reach. Diba? Ganun naman lahat. And of course, last year, how do you act like a champion? Which is yung concept of the thing. No? Now, how do you act like a champion? Siyempre, the first 2 to 5 seconds is more important. The cognitive, maayos lagi ang muka. Whether internet, online, or nakamas, yun ang nakikita mong muka. Kailangan laging maayos. At pag nagsalita ka na, kailangan ibalik ang po at opo.
Yeah.
Consultative, magalang ang pananalita. And of course, yung kilos, dignified, marangal ang kilos. So basically, ganun ang concept. So I'll be specific. Bakit kaya bagay na bagay sa inyong dalawa ni Tonton? I-combine ang Unstoppable Andy the Shark at saka si Phenomenal Tonton Euterio. Kayong babagay dyan sa champion na sila eh. Arrive na sila, magaling na. But your humility, di ba? Still there, no? Nandun pa rin yung sincerity niya, willingness to help others na in reality, pwede ka ng LOI, no? Living on interest alone. You don't need to look for the money, but your money is looking after you. So, it's a question of why, para maturuan natin itong mga tao to create that sustainable leadership na personally na-experience niya. So,
Okay. Actually, yung kakasabi mo lang yan, and about being unstoppable, I did not say that. I didn't say that. But then, the formula, if you want, ito sinasabi ko dun sa mga tao, if you want to be unstoppable, there's a secret to being unstoppable. You give, you share, you help. Nobody will stop you if you're giving. Nobody will stop you if you're sharing. Nobody will stop somebody who's helping. Tinutulungan ka, ba't mo sa pipigilan? Now, but if your mindset is only in getting, then that's a big problem. When your mindset is all about getting, yun ang magiging source ng frustration. Yun ang magiging source ng disappointment. Because if you do not get what you want, frustrate ka, and then you get stressed, and then you feel disappointed. Whereas if you find joy in sharing, in helping, in giving, ano pa hanapin mo? If I helped you, and I feel good about it, I'm happy, ano pa hanapin ko? Diba? So you help without expecting anything. You share, you give without expecting anything. Because the world will give back to you. The world will always give back to you. So you plant good seeds, and it will grow 1,000-fold. So that's the key to be unstoppable. And then you mentioned about yung euphoria, may depression ngayon. Parang may depression. Actually, the problem is not in the market. It is in our mindset. I'll repeat that. The problem is not with the market. It is in our mindset. Because real estate in the Philippines is so resilient. But it is not contained in one area. All you have to do is to follow the money, which means follow where is the growth area, what segment, and then you follow the money. Sinong may pera ngayon? Sinong may pera ngayon? Like right now, sabi, $1,000. Okay. Sino ibenta natin? OFWs, $4 earners, diba, exporters. So, ba't ka madidepress? Ba't ka madidepress? May market. Okay, during the pandemic, and then, since sa dami nung na-depress ng mga agents, what does that mean? Solo mo yung market ngayon. Solo mo yung market. When I was still an agent, pag bumabagyo, that is when I go out. Because nobody's on the streets. And hindi rin makalabas yung mga kliyente. nandun sila sa mga tindahan nila or sa bahay nila. So you have all the time to talk to them. So find opportunities where there is crisis.
And the last question, para more or less, malaman nila yung meaning ng euphoria. The meaning of the word euphoria represents our speakers. No? Just to summarize yung ating mga makakasama. Doon sa letter E, it's basically, kilala mo naman si Bunny Pajes. No? Euphoria. Siya yung letter E, yung enthusiastic bunny. Yan, started as a salesperson 25 years ago sa Manulife. But ngayon, is the biggest restaurant business in Cebu. May-ari ng Thursday, name it, Lantaw, Mooncake, name it, di ba? Siya ang pinakamagaling. In fact, siya ang #1 motivational speaker. But he never asked payment, no? Talagang enjoy lang siya na mag-share, no? And yun ang letter E, no? Enthusiastic, and then yung, of course, yung letter U, di ba? Unstoppable Andy the Shark. And of course, kay Tonto naman yung kanyang phenomenal, dati Tonto the innovator, no? So, nilagyan ko ng phenomenal because phenomenal naman talaga ang growth. And then I know you know also, you know, Tinet Cortez.
Yes.
So siya naman yung hyperactive. Ito yung babaeng tunay na graduate ng Oxford. At nabigyan siya ng award sa kanyang master's degree because of her mission to upgrade the image of the OFW.
Full course.
Oo.
Full
Full course yun talaga. So talagang yun ang kanyang vision at saka mission. No? Tinuturuan niya na matanggal yung inferiority complex, pagkakausap foreigner, puti, matangos, medyo, di ba, pag nag-i-English, nosebleed na, nandun pa rin yung slave mentality na 300 years under the convent, 50 years under Hollywood, na talagang ganon. And of course, the usual limiting beliefs na because of those things. And of course, yung O, tinanggal ko na yun sa akin, si Tina na yun. Because Tina, yung partner ko, was very successful, and one of his achievements is paano niya na-conquer ang Japan. For 5 years, talagang pinagtyaga na yun. And basically, ang tawag sa kanya is Ocean Blue. Biniligtad ko, strategist. No? Diba? I did not go to the Red Sea, but for the Blue Ocean, not the Red. So, doon sila nag-focus. That's why they sold over almost 8 buildings in Cebu at saka Davao. Mga Japanese takes time bago mapagkatiwalaan. Anong napagkatiwalaan? By the building kung bumili. By the floor at saka by the building. So that was an achievement. That's why yun sa kanyang letter O. And of course, yung R, ito naman yung anak ni Dr. Hocano na finally I convinced Felipe Hocano Jr. para ipagpatuloy sa tatay niya. Reimagining Felipe Hocano Jr. Kasi iba yung background ni Hocano sa tatay na Gen X eh. Ito naman mga Gen Y na siya, no? Para gano'n. So, tutuloy niya. So, sa kanya yun, reimagining from the cultural perspective. And of course, yung I, kaibigan din natin, si tao mo, yata, si Eric Manalo.
Okay.
And inspiring Eric Manalo naman. Because yun naman ang goal niya in the international selling. No? Siya ang ating speaker. And of course, si Pastor Gary, one who trained him. Batang-bata. Siya naman yung letter A, astonishing. Dati Gary the Transformer, pero ma-astonish ka naman talaga sa kanya. So basically, nabig ng euphoria. So we have 2 speakers on Think Like a Champion, si Tinet at saka si Hocano, kasi identity yun. Believe Like a Champion, si Bunny at saka si Bunny Pajes at saka si Gary. Kasi, diba, sila ang talagang eksaktong-eksakto. And then, kayong dalawa ni Tonton, on how do you feel like a champion? Diba, ando na kayo. Ano yung mga habits niyo? And of course, dun sa how to act like a champion, so dito naman natin ilalagay yung dalawa nating speaker on is basically Eric. At saka yung isa pang speaker natin in terms of how to act like a champion. So, siguro hingi tayo ng endorsement, no? Para malaman natin na why they should attend. And for the first time, siguro, ngayon lang tayo nakagather ng mga magaling na mga ganito, na lahat halos ng kanilang vision, mission, naka-align lahat, no? Which is helping, sharing a lot of people. Which is, sabi nga ni Pope John Paul. John Paul ba yun? Francis, yung dumisita sa atin 7 years ago. Pangalan niya. Yung basta current Pope natin. Di ba? Na Jesuits, kaya magaling siya. And one of his principles was yung GMP. To do the greatest good to the greatest number of people within your reach, you'll get rich. Which is to naman sa ating industry. If you help others get the investment and the best house and the user, then in return, dumarating naman talaga yun.
Sabi nga ni Zig Ziglar, di ba, you help people get what they want, so you can also get what you want.
So, closing na lang. Para kay Andy the Shark because of his very expensive time. Pag kinuha mo to, 50,000 minimum, ha? So, ito, libre. Pwede dito. Ganun ang ginagawa. Sideline na lang. Pasalita-salita. Hindi naman siya naghahanap eh. Siya ang hinahanap ngayon. Sige. Andy the Shark, closing challenge para sa atin.
Okay. Again, thank you very much. It has been a wonderful conversation. After so many years, rare to, and surprise, nothing. This was prepared and scripted. But you see, I'd like to invite everyone dun sa Euphoria. Okay. Another very rare event, occasion, or learning session, wherein you get to listen and maybe interact with not speakers, but practitioners. Kasi di ba, others sabi nga, you practice what you preach. These are, they preach what they practice. Okay? They preach what they actually practice. This is not classroom training. This is not classroom training. These are going to be a lot of sharing of actual experiences, actual challenges, actual strategies on how they overcame their challenges. So, but make sure that this will just be the first. If you attend this, make sure you are decided to really level up with your career and committed to be a champion.
Okay, so with that, babalikan natin yung ating slogan na sabi nga natin, how you think is how you believe is how you feel, and how you feel is how you act. Pero again, English eh. Sabi nga natin, yung Dr. Romano, pag English, it will just stimulate the mind, the logical, no? Pero pag tinagalog mo, it will touch the heart. So anong end result natin? Tagalogin natin, everything starts with attitude or perspective. Kung anong pananaw ay siyang nakikita, kung anong nakikita ay siyang nararamdaman, at kung anong nararamdaman ay siyang isinasagawa. So again, if you want to be a champion, sustainable, think like a champion, believe like a champion, feel like a champion, and of course, act like a champion. So thank you, Andy, for the surprise visit. Wala itong preparation. Alam ko, text ko ng text. Hindi tayo makahanap ng oras, no? Minsan, nakita mo, gabi na. But, tulog na si Mrs. So, Andy, na tatagal.
No, let's share some million.
Alright.